There we go. All right, prop to Mike. PTM. We've got a special Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight, which I think is awesome. I feel like they used to do these Monday night doubleheaders like back in the day. I remember Mike and Mike, Mike Greenberg and Mike Golick back when they used to have the radio show. I think they would actually call one of the games. But anyway, I'm a fan of 2 games on Monday Night Football. I actually think we should do this and just eliminate Thursday Night Football. But we can get to that in one sec, as well as Tim's question about, as well as your question about pineapple on pizza. We can debate that for a minute too. But as always, today's podcast is presented by Props.cash. We 100% cannot do what we do without Props.cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at sign up to get 25% off your first month. And also shout out to the PTM Discord. You can get all our VIP picks there if you join us today using that same PTM discount code. What's up, Tim? Welcome back. I know yesterday was a little dicey. It was not the most successful day. I think the PTM picks we just broke even on those. So but still, it's only week 3. We're still collecting data. We gotta.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? What's your
a lot? So it was surprisingly the first slate was profitable. It took us a while to get there. We did really well. And then the late slate, I had just one thing. Then the Bijan receptions that we needed 3, and there was a couple times where he was targeted or wasn't targeted, Mooney, whatever. And then there's that one fumble where it was a pass forward. And I thought we were going to get cashed out on that. So that one was like a little bit of a damper. But there was just this. I don't know. It felt like I was struggling to keep up with everything, or like the stuff I was seeing was, I don't know. It just wasn't as fun. So I want to get it back to fun. Like Jared Goff rushing. Or Kyle Juszczyk. I don't know. It just was a weird day, dude. I don't know. I like the 2 games tonight, like you're talking about. I wish they'd stagger them so we could have one game to focus on and then regroup for the next one.
Yes.
That's too much. So I understand.
Can only ask for so much.
I know, right? But yeah, all in all, it was a pretty solid day. The first slate, I went rather light. I think I had 3 plays, 4 plays, and 3 out of 4 hit or something like that. And then we got caught with no Mark Andrews whatsoever. Like he was just completely uninvolved. And then in the late game, it was a little weird with some of the calls, and the game kind of turned into kind of like a mess,
I'm ready to just write off tight ends this season. I don't know what's up with tight ends. It's not the year of the tight end,
Maybe that's what it is. I used to just log in, look at tight ends, smack tight ends, and then watch football. Whereas now I feel like the tight end that we had, that's gone. And rushing was like that for a while. Attempts was like that for a while. So we just got to find the next thing, which could be quarterback rushing.
Rushing could be.
Finally bet on Baker last week. That was one I missed. I bet on Baker, and he doesn't rush at all after like 10 straight. But it's all right. We've got 2 rushing quarterbacks tonight. And
we do.
They're both fun.
Yeah. Nice. So let's get into today's games here. The first game we got is let's hit up. The first game starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's the Jaguars going into Buffalo to face the Bills. See this line moving around. Earlier today, it was Jacksonville was getting 5.5. Now it's back down to 4.5. I know it was 4.5 earlier in the week. I was liking that at 5.5 quite a bit. I still kind of like it at 4.5 here. I think this is a sneaky little spot for Jacksonville. They had 2 weird games to start off the season so far. They definitely should have won at least one of them. But anyway, let's go into some of the matchups real quick that we're looking at in this game. Total's 46.5. Total in both games today is 46.5. So decent total.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Did you see my Giants start off by giving straight away a fumble? First play of the game for Cleveland is a touchdown. So I'm like, oh no, we're fucked. And then they just go rip off 3 straight. Malik Neighbors has a career day, and then Devin Singletary has a wide open run at the end where he goes down at the 1. I didn't have the total, but that was the difference in the over and the under. So Twitter was very like he went down to run the clock out, and they didn't score. So that one was I felt for all those over bettors that thought as he's running wide open, you're cheering, and then he goes down. I've had that
Yeah,
happen, which is part of what
that's the smart play though. That's what he's supposed to do.
As a Giants
And
fan, I loved it, and we got to beat the shit out of Cleveland, which I live in Ohio, so that was dually enjoyable. And then to see Malik Neighbors save about 3 errant Danny Dimes nickels, we'll call them, but he got it near him and he had to go get it. That dude is for real. He will be on every slip for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he's legit. All right, let's pull up the props.cash screen. Let's get moving here. Let's see, props.cash. Get that up here.
Real quick while you're pulling that up, have we been able to find a book that offers alternate rushing attempts yet? I know I've talked about it on here. I don't think I have anything in Ohio that will do it.
Not that I'm aware of. That would be
A couple of years ago in some less than regulated books, we were able to get it, but I don't fuck with
that. Yeah, not that I'm aware.
Because today would be all 3, well, minus Joe Burrow, all quarterbacks rushing attempts are worth looking at.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, let me run through some of the matchups real quick. Some of the spots we can look at in this game. Running back receptions on both sides are a place to look. We can get into that in a sec. Jacksonville, going back to last season, they've allowed by far the most running back targets and receptions. It's continued this season. They've allowed the 3rd most running back targets this season. Buffalo's right behind them. They've allowed the 5th most. So that is a place we can look on both sides of the ball. Buffalo, excuse me. Jacksonville's allowed the 3rd most catchable targets to wide receivers. So we can look at the Buffalo passing game and some of the wide receivers on that side. And then on the other side, Buffalo has allowed the 3rd most catchable targets to tight ends. So Evan Ingram, I believe, remains out. So we have a tight end.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
Is he like Christian McCaffrey right now, or who else just went to IR that was like day to day and then it turned into IR? Like, is he more hurt than we think?
Feels that way. I thought it was just missing a week or so, and then it's continuing.
This heavily supports your abandoning all tight ends, because last year he had the 3rd or 4th most receptions in the league, not at a tight ends, just like he was a heavily targeted wide receiver. So we're missing a lot of targets there that can go to running backs, which would be the alternative to a tight end dump off.
Yeah, and I thought Sam Laporta. I thought this was the week we could finally, and he couldn't break through, and So
I went
running
with
off tight ends for the next few minutes until maybe we get to Brenton Strange with the Jaguars here.
And Dalton Kincaid plays tonight against a team that would love to give him some receptions.
Yes, sir. And then you have just 2 insane matchups. So I like to look at the win rates on the line. Buffalo has the 3rd best run block win rate, and they're going up against Jacksonville, who has the worst run stop win rate so far this season. So a heavy mismatch there. And there's also a heavy mismatch in the passing game. Buffalo has the best pass block win rate, and Jacksonville, just terrible line play, has the 2nd worst pass rush win rate. So we already spoke about the Buffalo passing game in terms of number of targets. You also have a nice matchup in terms of play on the line. So you got a place you want to get started, Tim? You want me to throw something out? You got a play for this game?
Let me get you started, and then I'll get into, because mine's pretty predictable. So let me see what you got.
All right. So I'm all that being said about writing off tight ends. I just feel like this spot, I like it because Buffalo, they're down they've lost 3 defensive starters in the secondary too. Matt Milano was already out. Terrell Bernard out. Teron Johnson out. Those are like big losses to their secondary there. So I think on top of the fact that we already had a nice, Buffalo allowing a lot of targets to opposing tight ends, now you have backup players in there in the secondary. I feel like Trevor Lawrence has lost. I believe he's lost his 7 straight games. And I feel like this is like a do or die game, especially being down 0-2. I just feel like, having these defensive players out for Buffalo, this is like, maybe a big get right spot for the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. So I like looking at the passing game here. I like looking at the tight end. Let's bring him up. Brenton Strange. If you look at, so I mentioned the tight ends against Buffalo, and we could see why if we look here. Jonnu Smith, right here we had. Let's look at receptions. Look at this. Jonnu Smith, 6 receptions on 7 targets for 53 yards in week 2. Week 1, Trey McBride, 5 receptions on 9 targets in that game. Only 30 yards, but 9 targets in that game. So Brenton Strange, let's look at his receiving yards, 27.5. Actually, can get it 26.5. Look at him, 65 yards last week against Cleveland on 6 targets, 3 receptions. I love that volume there. I love the matchup. I think this is a sneaky little spot for the backup tight end for the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. And he's not a rookie, but he essentially is. He's second year out of Penn State, as obvious. But last year he was stuck behind Evan Ingram. So he's a big dude. He's like 6'3", 6'4", like 250. And he will be less of an acrobatic target, I think, but he'll be more of, oh shit, pass rush or mobile quarterback out of the pocket. He'll be one of the first looks outside of the tight end, the running back. So yeah, I'm with you. I was looking at receptions.
It's just juicy, 2.5 receptions at -140, which has actually come down a bit. I think that was like -160 earlier.
What if you went? Let me see if his line is still. Sorry, this is probably the most thrilling show to watch when we're searching line. I feel like if his line is still 26, you just grab the alt at 25 and then like 2 receptions and you get yourself a very safe 27.5 on FanDuel. So I wonder if they have his alternates, because like 2 receptions and 25 yards feels pretty solid.
Yeah. I don't know if that quite gets you there. Earlier today, I just put together his 2.5 receptions and the straight line, and it was like, I think that was like +113, if I remember correctly. So maybe it gets you there. But yeah, I like that quite a bit.
His 25 yards is -138, so you could buy down 2 yards for $18, which I've seen a lot. Like yesterday, Trey McBride, we went with McBride and Laporta yardage instead of receptions, and I went with Jake Ferguson receptions, which he had like 8 and 1,000,000 yards, but McBride had 25 exactly.
He finished 25 on the dot. Yeah. Dave and I talked. We gave that one out on Friday's pod. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, so you had that one? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you get 25 plus and 3 receptions, you get plus money. No, -118. So that's not great because they're correlating. That's why they do that. Yeah.
All right, you got something for this game?
I do. So you talked about running back receptions. Etienne's at 3, I think, or 3.5, I think, without Ingram. The 2.5 or the 3+ line is one I'm really looking at to work in. And then Dalton Kincaid, he had a very slow start. He had 4 receptions against Miami for 33 yards. So basically I think of Dalton Kincaid exactly how you just talked about Brenton Strange. So 100% for me, you're going to have a 25-25, 2-2, and that'll just be my like builder. So I told you it's very, very predictable for this game. So 2 receptions each, 25 yards each. And then Etienne is where I started looking into running backs. So look at that. But what I want to talk about, which is way more fun, is quarterback rushing. Both of these games I don't know why I'm obsessed with quarterback rushing, but both of these games look great. And Trevor Lawrence, he had the tail 2 games, 45 yards against Cleveland, 8 against Miami. The Buffalo defense is 23rd, allowing about 30 rush attempts per game. Do we think that that Trevor Lawrence is going to get cut loose? He had 45 yards in that last game. I'd call Cleveland a little bit more of him warmed up. Miami, it just was ugly.
Yeah.
He had 2 attempts to do that 45 yards. So there's a big scramble. So his attempts is 3.5, which I feel like I want to stay away from, to be honest. I'm just looking at his rush yards at 17.5. Do we think that he's going to break a long one again for 20 yards and cover that, or it is at like normal -110?
You see how many attempts he had when they played last season, October 8th in
Oh,
Buffalo?
Buffalo?
7
Mhm.
rush attempts against Buffalo last season.
31
So
yards.
yeah, 31 yards right there. Yeah, this is
He's
something
gone-
I was looking at.
And he's gone against Buffalo twice in his career, 3 attempts or greater both times. So that's why I was asking about that alt, because if we get him 3 attempts instead of 3.5, that's why they bait you with that 3.5, because you see that 3 and they're like, well, he got 7 last time. But if he regresses back to that 3 for 20, we cover the yards, but not the attempts. But if you go head to head on attempts, you got 3 and 7, I think. So there's definitely some how to play it, but I think he's very much so at the top of my list of people I would look at. And then Josh Allen rush attempts. He is back to 6.5 where we got him. And we stayed away from him last game.
Yeah.
Thank God we did, because he only rushed twice.
Yep.
He shot all the way up to 8. We're getting him again at 6.5. He's played Jacksonville twice in his career, 21-23, 5 and 4. So he's never topped this line against Jacksonville. So his attempts, 6.5. His yardage is 32.5, which he covered once against Jacksonville, did not the second time. So I'm not seeing anything like glaring, but I just kind of want to see what you thought as far as those two.
Yeah, I think I like Allen a little bit more. I'm not sure. I just feel like well, I think this is a must-win game for Jacksonville. So that would lead me to believe Lawrence going to try to make things happen if and when he needs to. But I do also like the that matchup on the line in terms of Jacksonville having the worst run stop win rate. That should create some openings for Allen. So yeah, I think both of these look good. It's funny I think both of these, we're getting some silly comments in on X from
I want to see them. How do I see the fun comments?
We got a
can you see any comments when we're doing this? Yeah, nothing showed. Bummer.
An account called Prop the Mic 2 asked, how is it possible you guys are so handsome and so smart at the same time?
Props.cash, dude. All the data's right there. I just go running backs. So I'm going to personally bet Trevor Lawrence to have 15 or more. I think it's 15.5 as a line.
15.5.
I want to play that, but that's more of just I had the same thing. He's got to fight for yards. I think he's coming in with what he did. He got 31 against him in 23. 21, he's a rookie getting fucked up. 23, he did it. Last week, he did it in a big way. And that's I think that's the Trevor Lawrence that's coming in, not the 8-yard getter from week 1. But even if he regresses back down by 50%, we are covering with ease. So 100% going right back to quarterback rushing. And I'm smacking him at 15.5 is his prop on no free ads, but on FanDuel.
All right.
I like getting smacked right now. Yep.
All right, let's stick with the quarterbacks, because I was liking the I just feel like with the mismatch in the passing game with the great pass block win rates for Buffalo, terrible pass rush for Jacksonville, but then at the same time you have the decimated Bills secondary. I think this is a game where both quarterbacks do some work passing. I like both of them at 200 yards together. You can get that. It's basically even money, minus 105 on FanDuel, 200 and 200. Look at Trevor Lawrence against Buffalo. 315. This game was 3 years ago. Well, his rookie
Yeah, it's tough to
his
use this,
rookie
right?
year.
Yeah.
We'll leave that. That was Urban Meyer days. But 315 in that game last season. If we go back to here, this was that 315 game. That's the game we're talking about right there. Since then, he's only gone under 200 yards 3 times. He got there, terrible week 1 to Miami, but 220 last week. So those are the 3 he went under right there. And Josh Allen as well. Look at his last 2 against Jacksonville. 360 in that game last season.
Did okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
I would love to see a high scoring shootout because then all of those numbers get so inflated versus running up the clock and all that bullshit that you get like the second half of the Chiefs last night, where it just went from so fun to dead.
Yeah, it's kind of the feeling I have is that this is the game tonight that's going to be like the the passing heavy game with more offense, more scoring, and then the other one's going to kind of be a more running focused game. We'll get to that one in 1 second.
Have a 100-yard game probably.
Yeah. The other guy I like, just real quick, we'll wrap this game up with James Cook. I like him. I like his rushing and receiving in this game. Remember, I mentioned they have the Buffalo, the 3rd best run block win rate. Jacksonville, the worst run stop win rate in the league so far this season. James Cook, 60.5 rush yards. He only had 5 rush attempts in that game last year, so we can throw that one out. But look at him at let's go here, home. Look at him at home lately. These are his last 9 games. 7 of his last 9, or what is this? 7 of his last 9 at home, clearing this line. I like his.
Cut out that other one. That's what they do with stats, make them a little better.
What was that?
I said if you cut out that last one, I'll just be in a. It's just
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Make it sound as good as possible.
Yeah. That's how I like to look at it too.
Yeah.
And so that's his rushing. I think that's nice. And then I think his receiving as well is also a nice spot. His receptions, look what he's done so far this season. He's had let's take the home off there. This season, where are we? He had 3 so where are we at targets? Yeah, 3 and 1 against Jacksonville. He had 4 targets, 3 receptions in that game last season. And then receiving yards. I actually like looking at him. I believe I had the home filter on. Yeah. And then sorry.
No, you're good.
Sometimes it gets a little getting used to. I'm used to
Yeah, we need
Dave.
Dave.
I'm used to Dave rocking and rolling this props.cash screen. So and then receiving yards. His line is at 17.5. Against Jacksonville, 25. He had this season 17 in that game against Miami, and then 32. So I think he's in a nice spot as well for rushing, and then also receiving yards, whichever way you want to play it. Even bring that down to 2 receptions.
Yeah, James Cook 2, Etienne 2 receptions each is a nice.
Yeah, I looked at that. I was going to give that one out, but it was like minus 158 or something like that. So
if you want to add it to something like a Josh Allen 200+ yards or 150, like put something. You're trying to just make a builder. I'm trying to limit the legs so I don't get Bijan'd again.
Yeah,
or Mark Andrews
become a verb.
Yeah, dude. I got his touchdown. Anyways, oh yeah, I had an anytime for Kyle Pitts, just a long shot of tight ends.
Yeah,
it was $10 to spend, like if him and the other tight end scored, and so that catch, and then he was down at the 1, and then Bijan went in. So like I felt for just like Singletary going down for the over. Anytime Kyle Pitts 50 yards catch right on the 1, and then Bijan, he got Bijan'd as well.
Yeah, Dave got a text during that game. I said, It's like Kyle Pitts, this guy. We spoke about him on the podcast, and was like tight ends against Cincinnati, against Kansas City is like a tremendous matchup, but like we just can't do it because it's Kyle Pitts. And then of course, what does Kyle Pitts do?
60 yards on 2 catches. That's such a Kyle Pitts game.
And a touchdown, right?
Yeah. No, he didn't get it. Oh no, he did. Did he? His second catch was so he ended up getting in. But anyways, you get it.
Yeah.
Is there a sweat free tonight?
Not sure.
No, they have it for Thursday. I feel like every primetime game there's been a like a no sweat refund. And since there's 2 games tonight, I'm surprised that there isn't one. Oh well.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the other game. This game, let's see, matchup wise, rushing is the way to go in both of these games. I see. Yeah, read the green, Jordan. I agree. Jaden Daniels, does he get to 2? We had a question in on X. You think Jaden Daniels can get to 200 passing yards versus the Bengals? I agree with read the green here. I don't think so. Cincinnati's run defense is not good. I think they are pounding the ball, like you said there in this game. That was one of my targets. I love Jaden Daniels over 48.5 rushing yards.
Yep.
Let's see
100%.
Right there. This is kid's first game, Monday Night Football. He's going to want to show the world what he can do. Look at what you have. Mahomes 29, Brissett 32. The first 2 games against Cincinnati. I see the same thing happening again. They absolutely crushed it, and Daniels is going to do the exact same thing tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Was his yardage specifically? I think there's some alt stuff that could be used if you wanted to, like his 40 plus was like put that, like if you wanted to go not Eckler, I'm so sorry. Etienne 2 receptions, James Cook 2 receptions, him 40 plus rushing or something like that. That's the type of leg I think you get yourself really where you want to be. But switch over on his rushing yards to his rushing attempts. He's attempted 16 and 10. His rushing attempts is 9.5 juiced. There, I mean, he did 10 against the Giants, 16 against Tampa Bay, and the 10 was in a win. The 16 was in a loss. I think we just figure out what do we think the game script is here. I think he runs no matter what.
Yes.
But I think if he's running for his life, he hits closer to that 15 level versus the 10. So if I was going to take a straight, I'd be totally fine with his 9.5 rushing attempts. And if you could find it cheaper, 8.5 anywhere. No, it's 9.5 everywhere. But it's like minus 103, minus 105. And then BetMGM has his 9.5 at minus 150. Prize Picks minus 137. So a lot of people are juicing that to the over. So if we're getting it at even money, 9.5, I'm totally fine with that as a straight.
Yeah.
So that was my main from this was let's look at attempts. And again, if I could take Josh Allen 4, Trevor Lawrence 3, Jaden Daniels 8, you know what I mean? Like just cut a couple off and stack them all up. That would have been my like ultra mega whale 10 unit bomb, whatever. and then it would have lost. So just take them 9.5 straight at 103, even money, and get paid.
Yeah. The other one I was looking at, this was like a parlay, a piece from each game. If you did Josh Allen 25 rushing yards and Jaden Daniels 25 rushing yards, that's like minus 125. I don't even think you need to put Daniels as low as 25. I think you could put him at 40. Keep Allen at 25, and now you're at plus 135. I think that's an awesome 2-leg right there. Allen 25, Daniels 40 rushing yards, cross multi-game for the 2 games tonight. I think that is that's a nice spot there. But
yeah, I love that. I'm running to put it in currently. Sorry.
There you go.
If you do the 25 and 25 and it's minus 120, oh man,
it was minus 125.
Worth it. I would cut the extra 15 yards off of Jaden Daniels and let him just cover it in the first half for you, and then go to
be
bed
done with it. Yeah.
It's late.
I love
tired.
that.
I got pizza to eat.
He's putting it in right now. Tim loves it.
Yeah, sorry. I like doing the show. I find stuff that's like in the vicinity of what I was looking at, and then it's just a little bit different. And I didn't think that range. So yeah, I'm a big fan of those.
And then I'm sticking with the Washington running game with the running back as well. Brian Robinson, over 53.5 rushing yards. Look at the first two games here. Pacheco 90, Stevenson 120. I mean, then go back to, I know it's a different coaching staff back, but look at these huge games: 130, 132, 99. Like,
and look at his attempts. You're looking at somebody who's getting the ball. Yeah. Like he's getting the ball. Even with Jamie Daniels out there, he's still getting his touches.
So if you look, his line was his rush attempt line is 13.5. If we just look at him, if we bring him up to 12 rush attempts, so well under the line. Like look. Hold on. Oh, sorry, I got to do it like this. Bring that back up to 12. He's clearing 14 of 18 games when he's had, and then this one just would have gotten hooked right there when he's had 12 attempts, averaging 72.7 rush yards in those games. So I think he's also in a great spot. To run.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And then my only other play, I'm just sticking with the running in this game. I think Zach Moss is also in a nice spot. His rush attempt line is 12.5. If you look at the first two teams to face them, Singletary had 15 attempts, 16 attempts. Rachaad White 15 attempts. So team's been running the ball against Washington. When Zach Moss, his line is at 51.5, I believe. If we just bring his attempts up, remember his line's 12.5. If we just look at him with 10 attempts, I mean, look at that. He's getting there. What is that? 10 of his last 14. Did I do that right? Yeah, something like that.
7 of the last 10. Good enough.
Yeah, 7 of his So 7 of his last 10, 12 of his last 16, with 10 plus rush attempts. So I think this feels like the game where there's going to be a lot of running going on. But I also don't love, I don't know, Joe Burrow and company. Not sure what to feel about Cincinnati. What's the feel in Ohio there about the Bengals?
Everybody's so focused on how he picks up a water bottle that I don't think they're so worried about. And then like them walking across the street to practice. And there's like so many other stories. I'll ask I have one of my long-term fantasy leagues they're all in Cincy but me. Shout out guys. Danny Woodhead, the greatest league of all time. And they are all Cincy fans. So I want to see what they think after tonight. I'm not going to ask them before. I'm going to wait till after the game and see what their feedback is. Because if it's like me, I was out on the Giants and now we're going to the playoffs when I saw Malik Davis. You know what I mean? Like that's like the unrealistic fandom in me is like, never mind, we got the team. Let's go. Dude, how about Devin Singletary wearing 26 though? Wearing Saquon's number coming in.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll ask them and see what they think. But they were all pretty distraught going into the Burrow injury. So I think tonight we see if he's healthy or not.
Yeah. All right.
That's all.
Yeah, I think that does it. Some nice plays here.
I like all of this.
Yeah. There's some good stuff to work with here. So nice work today, Tim. Let's get these picks in. We got 2 games to enjoy tonight. The NFL Week 3 is not over yet. We got 2 more to go. So get these picks in.
Quick.
And Real
quick. Atalanta starts. It's a Serie A soccer match.
Okay. Here we go.
Start at 245. The over 1.5 total goals in that game. If you want to add it to if you've got like a minus 200 and you need a leg to get you down to builder, Atalanta loves to score and they are coming in hot against Como, which is like one of the bottom tier tables. So I think they'll score 2 themselves. But anyways, if you want to sneak that one into anything, go ahead and throw their 1.5 in there.
With you put that in with Allen and Daniels 25-25. There you go.
Exactly. There you go. All right. That was it. I'm done now.
All right. Nice work, Tim. Lock them in and enjoy the games, and let's all make some money.
Yeah, let's do it.